Hello, Wonderhussy here, just driving around the middle of nowhere desert on a chilly winter's day, looking for weird stuff. And lucky for me, this particular area of the desert is chock full of weird stuff. And no, I'm not even really talking about this shipping container, although I just drove by it and thought, well, I better stop and at least take a look. I mean, it's not every day you see an abandoned shipping container and an abandoned boat in the middle of the desert. Or, I don't know, I guess it depends on where you come from. Where I come from, it's not every day that I come across something like this, so let's have a look. I mean, this here kind of blows my mind because these shipping containers are not cheap. And so for one to just sort of be abandoned out here is really surprising. Oh, and this looks like it maybe used to be a house. Oh my goodness. Yikes. I wonder what happened to whoever lived here. I mean, I say it looks like it used to be a house because, well, it's got a door and it's got a window, and it looks like it even had another window at one time and a skylight, and it looks like there was even like a bed built back here. I mean, that's about the right size for a, I don't know, queen, maybe even king-size bed. So, golly, who was living out here in this shipping container on BLM land? I should note, we're on Bureau of Land Management land, which is land that's managed. Well, it's owned by us, the U.S. taxpayers, and it's managed by the federal government, the Bureau of Land Management, aka the BLM. And the BLM, you know, they're pretty laissez-faire about what you can do on public lands. You can ride your dirt bike. You can ride your side-by-side. You can camp for free. I think you can even prospect. But you can't, as far as I know, drag a shipping container out here and live in it. Oh my gosh, what does that mean? Thieves, look. Now I've seen your face. Anna Quinn wins. Now, what do you suppose that means? And then look, somebody wrote Tweak Shack, which, yeah, that pretty much squares. I mean, if somebody was living out here on BLM land in a shipping container, I guess it makes sense that it might have been tweakers, which if you've never heard the term tweakers or tweak, it's crystal meth, okay? Unfortunately, there is, I think, was and probably still is a huge crystal meth epidemic in the desert Southwest. It's a really addictive drug, and it has really nasty physical effects on the people who do it. And unfortunately, tweakers, as they call them, often end up living in weird hovels or shanties like this. And golly, there's stuff scattered all over the desert here that probably used to be inside that shipping container. Like, wasn't that like a futon? There was an old swamp cooler, and then this looks like it's part of an outhouse. Presumably that was not inside the shipping container, but presumably it wasn't just sitting out here in the middle of the desert either. Oh my god, there is a pit under it. Ugh, I can't believe I just looked in that. Okay, maybe it was just sitting out here in the middle of the desert. That's weird though. You think if you were gonna build an outhouse, well, wouldn't you put walls around it for privacy? I guess, well, if you're out here, there really is no need for privacy. Although, hold everything. I just saw something off in the distance there. Look at that. Looks like there's a whole bunch more shacks or buildings or something. We're gonna have to go check that out. But before I do that, let me just finish poking around in this shipping container. I mean, you can see it wasn't a half-assed operation. They actually buried it in the ground and built this retaining wall to hold the desert up from collapsing around it. And so the way it's set into this berm like that, I guess that would help keep it kind of cool in the summer and kind of warm in the winter. Isn't that how that works? I mean, I did notice it's a really chilly day, and I did notice it was a lot warmer inside that shipping container, although that might have just been the fact that I was out of the wind. Anyway, I wanted to go back in here and just see if we had any clues as to who lived here. I mean, it did have an actual door in this door frame, you know? You can see, well, the frame is still there, and the sill is still there, or the threshold. But the door, yeah, somebody knocked it down. And it looks like, oh my goodness, it looks like there was a lady living here because, oh my god, there's some kind of little polka dot bikini or something. Oh my god, these are so gross and dirty. I can't believe I'm touching them. Look, there's her high heel. Oh my goodness, platform heels with that. Fancy. Oh, what's this? Sildenafil citrate tablets. Camagra 100. Camagra Gold. What is that? Dosage as directed by the physician. What the hey is Camagra? Is that like Viagra? Like Kamala Harris Viagra? Count me out. So maybe it wasn't Tweak that did these people in, it was Camagra. Anyway, I noticed there were some, oh gosh, look at this. Civil harassment packet number 7. Temporary order request. What on God's green earth is a civil harassment packet? And what about the first 6 of them? This is number 7. Warnings and notices to the restrained person. You cannot have guns or firearms. Oh, it's like a restraining order. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Can a civil harassment restraining order help me? Oh my goodness. So this is somebody's restraining order, but it's blank. None of it's filled in. So, oh my goodness, the plot thickens. Someone was in here addicted to Camagra and had a restraining order out on somebody. Sitting in here drinking White Claw and Almond Breeze. Oh my God, what is this? Don't buy a car made on Monday. And then there's a lemon on wheels. Stop whatever you're doing. Get back in bed and pull the covers over your head. Living is definitely dangerous to your health. Risky at best. The world is filled with animate and inanimate adversaries waiting to maim, alter, contaminate, or otherwise damage you. The whole paranoid catalog. Here is the definitive arbitrary compendium of certain doom that will help you develop a knowing relationship with your antagonist. What is this? A rollicking catalog of doom, disaster, and the manifold perils of everyday life? Boy, now I've seen everything. Look at this. This is just, it's an encyclopedia, basically, in alphabetical order of everything that could kill you or could be bad for you. Ballpoint pens. Ballpoint pens make formidable weapons. Beer. America's favorite bar drink causes cancer. Birthdays. You will die within a year of your last birthday. Botulism. And that's just the bees. What the hey? Who would sit around in a shipping container in the middle of the desert reading a book like that? And then look here. Oakland Police Department. Oh my goodness, what is this? Maybe that's where they filed the restraining order. Way up in Oakland? What was this? It's just a card with all the numbers on it, huh? Weird. Oh golly, look here. Here's a PG&E bill, which that's the utility up in Northern California. We're down here outside Barstow. Oh look, here's the guy's name. Oh no. From Oakland, California. Oh, this was his earnings statement. Oh no, let's see how much money he made. His paycheck was $784.65. Is that bi-weekly? Oh, that was for 36 hours. So what is that? How much money was he making per hour? $28 per hour, is that it? $28 an hour. Okay, so he was making a decent wage. I mean, you think he could have afforded to live somewhere better than a shipping container in the desert outside Barstow. Oh my God, look, here's some more women's shoes. They're kind of big though. Like this is a size 12. That's a big foot for a woman. So I wonder if he was into cross-dressing. You never know. Huh. It's interesting though, because it's like all women's shoes. I mean, there's a hiking boot here, but is that a man's hiking boot? That looks too small for a man. Well, maybe. Maybe there was a couple living here. Oh my God, what's under the bed? I'm afraid to look. Nothing really. Okay, wow. I have no idea what led these people to hide out here in the desert in this shipping container, but let's go check out their boat. Nothing like the sight of a boat on a sandy berm in the high desert. And this was probably a nice little boat back in its day. And I'll be honest with you, I would love to take a boat home to my Death Valley compound and put it in the front yard, although my neighbors might not be so happy about that. But unfortunately, I don't have any means of getting this thing home with me. And it's a shame because it's just sitting out here, trash, garbage strewn on our beautiful public lands. You would think the federal government would actually pay me to take this away. I mean, I don't think she's seaworthy anymore. I mean, at one time, though, look, what a cozy little berth down here. Oh, my goodness. It's like sleeping in a cradle. I've slept in a bunk like that in a boat before, and it's so cozy. I'm really curious now about what all those other buildings are off there in the distance. So now I have to figure out how I can drive out there and check them out. Hang on. Second one of the day. I'll add it to the collection. Okay, yikes. Okay, according to the spray painted graffiti, it says no trespassing, not abandoned as of February 2020. Okay, I'm shooting this video at the end of 2022, so it's been almost 3 years since whoever painted this on here painted it. I don't know, man. It looks pretty abandoned. But golly, with places like this, you just never know. And since the last thing I want is to be shot in the head by some crazy meth head, well, I guess I'm not going to trespass. I'm just gonna walk around the perimeter and see what I can see. I mean, you can see they did go to great lengths to fence this off. And, you know, keeping up a fence is not easy, especially as windy as it gets out here in the desert. These panels, which look like they're pieces from an old garage door, by the way. Isn't that what that is? They're pieces of a garage door. Anyway, some of those panels have blown over and, well, golly, they're trying. But for as big a piece of property as this, oh my God, just to keep this fenced in and keep people out would be almost impossible. So I'm gonna be nice and not actually physically trespass. I'm just gonna shoot footage over the fence because holy cow, this place looks really interesting. I mean, yeah, there's just a bunch of old junk cars and old tires and old RVs and stuff strewn about, laying on their sides and whatnot. But you can see that, well, they were trying to live out here. It looks like somebody built a pretty nice house. Oh my goodness, man. That is wild. I'll zoom in. I mean, it looks like they started building a house, but didn't finish framing it out or insulating it or putting windows in. It almost looks more like a summertime clubhouse or like a kid's playhouse. I mean, this would be the ultimate kids playhouse, way out here in the middle of nothing for many miles till some nosy big city YouTuber comes along, starts poking around in your business. I mean, you could do anything out here. You know, grow marijuana, cook meth, howl at the moon, have a bonfire, run around naked. Lots of options. And it's hard to say if it was just one guy living out here or if he had all his friends come stay and it was shaping up to be the new slab city. I don't know. I thought we were on BLM land, but I suppose this must be private land. Either that or it's like the ballsiest squatter in the history of squatters. No trespassing. Okay, so even though by the sign, no one's been here in like 3 years, and the odds of anybody being in there right now are pretty slim, I'm not gonna take my chances because there's 2 other things that I have pinned on my map that seem like they're probably pretty interesting, and they're in this general area anyway, and neither one of those is a potential meth lab, so I feel pretty safe about checking those out instead. Okay, the next thing I'm trying to find is a plane crash site. Okay, somebody told me an F-22 fighter jet went down right around here somewhere, and I can't remember who told me about it, but they didn't give me the exact coordinates, and so I did some searching on Google Earth, and I kind of had an idea of where it was, but, well, when I got to where I thought it wasn't. Fortunately, I've got an ace in my pocket, and that is my good friend from the Strategic Beer Command. If you watch the video I made where I went and found the memorial to the A-12 that crashed up in Nevada, well, it's the same guy. He's a plane crash buff, I guess you would call it, but he goes around and he puts up memorials to the pilots at these plane crash sites. So it's actually very respectful what he does. Oh, hold on. Just saw another dang Mylar balloon. Happy Mother's Day. Aw, hey, this is actually cool though, because I told myself, I mean, there's plenty of space to camp out here tonight, you know? I mean, awesome campsites, any way you look. But it's cold, man. It's like in the 50s now, and this is like the warmest time of the day. So it's gonna be really cold tonight, and I don't really want to camp. So I told myself if I could pick up 5 Mylar balloons from the desert, I could go get a hotel room. So guess what? This was number 5, believe it or not. I've picked up 5 friggin' Mylar balloons today. Happy Mother's Day, Happy Halloween, Happy Birthday. Funnily enough, none of them say Happy Earth Day. Anyway, now that I have my 5 Mylar balloons, that means I can go into town and get myself a hotel room. But first I gotta go find this F-22 memorial because my friend, like I was just saying, I just texted him. I have signal out here. And thankfully he had his phone on him and he sent me the coordinates. So now I know exactly where it is and I'm headed there now. Ah, looks like here it is. Boy, howdy. I've been rallying on these bumpy desert roads and all my flare is getting all knocked every which way. You might have noticed, I got a bunch of crazy crap hanging around my rearview mirror. Boxing gloves, a rosary, the keys to some guy's balls in Florida. You know, a little this, a little that, just sort of like talisman to protect me on the road. Anyway, that's what all that stuff is jangling around my rearview mirror. And boy, howdy, the boxing gloves even fell off. This road was so bumpy. But the good news is we made it to the F-22 crash site. Look at this. Wow. This was the pilot's name, David P. Cooley. I think they called him Cools. And you can see here the fine work of the Strategic Beer Command. They made this cool metal F-22 replica and mounted it there on a pole. That's really nice. I mean, this guy, his name is Jeremy. He does this at all kind of plane crash sites, and it's cool. I'm sure David Cooley's widow or family would be really glad to see that there is a little memorial here for him. Yeah, the flag's seen better days, but that's just the way it is out here in these blasting desert winds. Look, there's even little solar lights on it so it would light up at night. Look at this. What does it say? Historical landmark in memory of David P. Cooley. F-22 serial number 4008 crashed on this site 25th of March 2009 in pursuit of improving America's defense. Boy, I'll say, look, it looks like there's even a little tiny piece of the plane. They found a little piece, like part of the electrical line or something. Oh my goodness. Oh, it looks like there's little tiny bits of metal too. You know, when one of these F-22s crashes, the military comes in and cleans most everything up pretty thoroughly, but, you know, they don't get everything. Anyway, there's like a full bar here if you're into beer. We got a Coors Banquet beer, a Blue Moon, a Miller Lite, a Mick Ultra, a Guinness, and a Coors Light. Only thing missing here is Budweiser, and that tells me that Cools was a man of great taste. Actually, I'm just kidding. I don't drink beer at all. What do I know? Whatever kind of beer he drank. Either way, it was a pretty terrible way to go down out in the middle of this vast, lonely, desolate desert plain. Sadly, Jeremy told me that there's something like 5 other crash memorials in this general vicinity, which I guess stands to reason because we're right outside Edwards Air Force Base. So, you know, there's a lot of fighter jets flying around in this area. And sadly, every now and then they do go down. And this one only went down in 2009. I mean, that's within recent memory. What, 13 years ago? I mean, I think I might even remember hearing about that in the news. Just terrible. I guess his friends made this medallion with his name on it, David R. Cooley, March 25th, 2009. Cools. And now that I'm looking at him, he does look familiar. I'm pretty sure I do remember reading about that poor guy when his plane crashed. That's pretty cool. There's 2 of them up on this really nice metal monument. And then look down here. I just noticed something else. I wonder what this is. Hidden Hills. Oh, what does that mean? Looks like it's like the Beverly Hills sign, but it says Hidden Hills. Very mysterious. Anybody know anything about this? Let me know in the comments. Okay, now I gotta go to this last location before I run out of daylight. Okay, this is the last place I wanted to check out today, and not a moment too soon. Sun is going down fast, and I sure don't want to drive back down that bumpy dirt road in the dark. I mean, that last little bit of road that I drove was so bumpy. It was the worst part of the whole day. And I'm not even sure this is going to be worth it. Okay, what I drove all the way out here looking for is supposedly a koi pond. That's right, a koi pond, like you see in them fancy Japanese gardens, those big, beautiful orange goldfish. Well, supposedly some prankster stalked koi in a little watering hole way out here, which, need I remind you, is in the middle of a huge, vast, barren, extremely arid desert. And when I first drove up to the site, I kind of thought, oh, this pond looks like it's dried up. But it's not dry. You can see there's water in it. I don't know what this source of water is, but there's some kind of little spring coming right out of the ground. Look at that. Oh man, wouldn't it be awesome if it was hot? It's not hot, but it's not freezing. Anyway, let's see if there's any koi in here. I don't know. Wah, wah, wah. Now you might be thinking, well, duh, Wonderhussy, of course there's no koi in this pond in the middle of a desert. Well, don't be so fast. There actually was koi in another pond that I went to way up in the mountains just outside Death Valley in another video I made, and I'll put the link to that here if you don't believe me. That's apparently a thing that these off-roaders do, like stalk koi in these random desert ponds. And then the other one that I went to actually had a little box of fish food where you could feed them. This, unfortunately, looks like no one has been maintaining it for a while. And so, unfortunately, well, the koi either starved to death or maybe the coyotes got him. Either way, I don't have time to really think about it too much because, like I said, it's getting dark. And that road, well, unfortunately, that road was so bumpy that my water jugs leaked all over the back of my car and everything's a mess. Thankfully, I don't have to camp in my wet, soggy bed because, yes, all my blankets got wet too from the dang water jugs. Because I got those 5 Mylar balloons, I'm going right into Barstow. That's right, Barstow is just right that way, not far. And I'm going to get myself a fancy hotel room to reward myself for an awesome day of exploring the beautiful desert. I mean, before I end this video, here's a look at the sunset. How about that? The desert is just full of beauty and random surprises. Just not any koi.